So we've got the high school diploma, which we'll talk about first. And then we have the SAT exam and the AP exams, SAT one being one exam and APs being different subject exams. So first of all, we'll just, for those that don't know, go through what exactly is a high school diploma. Really obvious if you're American, but in the UK, it takes a little bit of getting your head around. So basically, just move my, how do I move that out there? There we go. Basically, it's 4 years of study. So it's grade 9 to grade 12 in the American system, which is year 10. No, I forget what the years
10,
are.
Yeah, 10.
But it's like 40, you're talking 14 to 18 roughly, or maybe 13 to 17, depending on where your birthday falls. But that period of school. And as Helen says, it's that, you know, it's true that putting your homeschool child into college at 16 can be a bit scary. So it's great to have them home. I've found it's been amazing having them home for these 4 years. So each, this is just an example of a transcript to show you, just move my chat box, to show, I don't, it's a little bit blurry, but to show you basically, I think it helps to see visually these 4 years, grade 9, 10, 11, 12. And here is an example of somebody's list of subjects that they've done in those grades, what grades they get for each subject, how many credits that most subjects would give you 1 credit, which would be typically 120 hours, half a credit for 60 hours. And so if you can see there, for example, if you got an A in a subject, that would give you a GPA, which is your grade point average of 4.0. And as the grades go down, you can see some of those 3.7. That's your, so this year, this grade 9 child got, is it 6.5 credits, I think, and a grade point average of 3 point something. My eyesight's not that great. So, you know, you can see how it works with the subjects, with the grades, how the grades are totted up each year. And then the high school diploma doesn't involve exams at the end, unlike GCSEs or A levels. You can see this student, what they've done in 4 years, what subjects they've covered, how well they've done in each subject, how many they've done, and they will achieve this qualification of a high school diploma with this grade point average of the overall grade point average 3.29 they have, and a total of 25 credits. There's some compulsory subjects that you have to do, but there's a lot of flexibility as well. People still coming in. Have I missed out anything there?
No, that's good.
Clear. Sorry, letting people in. Why is a high school diploma a good idea? Great. Sorry, so many things going on. So it's a big thing is that it's broader than the UK qualifications. Helen, maybe you could speak to this a little bit, could you?
Yeah, I mean, so for example, I'm sure, you know, I did 2 maths and economics for A level, and I'm sure we've all, you know, done similar things 100 years ago. So obviously then you just don't do any English, and you just do those sort of 3 subjects, you know. So if you've got a kid that does 3 sciences, then they don't do any English, or the other way around. You know, if you've got a kid that's sort of like doing very kind of art subjects, then, you know, they're not going to do any maths. So I think we liked the fact that there was, you know, you kept going with more subjects later. So, and that kind of suited, I guess it probably doesn't suit all kids, but we thought educationally wise, that was better. Sometimes you do exams, sometimes you don't do exams. There's a kind of mixture. You don't necessarily have to do exams, and then that's a whole we don't offer the high school diploma, and, you know, there's lots of people that we can recommend you know, speak to about, and that will give you a lot more information about how, you know, the specifics of the high school diploma works. So we just wanted to give a kind of broad overview of that. But you can also have two different high school diplomas. You can have a much more academic one for an academic kid, and a much more vocational or kind of arty one, or one much more language kind of orientated to a language kid.
And it doesn't have to be decided. I think that's another big plus is, you know, when you're, I remember taking GCSEs, I was the very first year, that gives me away, of GCSEs. And you had to, you know, pick your subjects that you were going to be doing. And if you decided that you hated physics because you hadn't actually done it before, which was me, and it was too late, you couldn't, like, you know, maybe there are some ways of swapping them, but this is great because you can have 1 year, then the child suddenly starts painting or something, loves whatever, and you know, you can be changing that year by year depending on your child and depending how they're going through things. So that's the high school diploma. I don't know, has anybody got any questions about the high school diploma? Maybe that would be a good time for a little bit was that clear how it all works? If there's anything, or put it in the chat, or say if something wasn't clear. And the next part of our 3-part is the SAT exam, which is an exam. What's an SAT, Helen?
So there's 3 sort of parts to it. There's like a maths part to it, which Dunmop's providing maths courses. I just finished one on Monday. So it's a maths exam that is not the best person at maths as best in the SAT maths part. It's a very you practice a lot on particular things, and there's a lot of repetition on it. So yeah, sometimes it's like the person that's going to practice the most as well on the SAT maths part of it. And then there's a reading comprehension part, but then they're not seen passages, so it's not like you have to read Shakespeare or really particular books and then you're tested on that. It's just like an unseen passage. If you read a lot and you're good at, you know, you have a sort of classical curriculum, or you enjoy reading, you know, you're certainly going to be in a massive advantage with that. And then there's a grammar section, which is not asking you what is a gerund, what's a participle or something like that, but it's lots of sentences that you have to say, should this word be here, or should that comma be there, or I don't know, just kind of it's like asking you to kind of like, is it right or is it wrong, kind of how they've written this word. It costs £70, about that. It's now all digital, so it's all multiple choice. The highest score you can get is 1600. There was an essay part, you know, to do the essay. You get your results in about 3 weeks, and you sit it at your usual, so it's your local posh international school or private school. Like most towns, if you live in the sort of north of Scotland or the west of Wales, and you might not have anywhere near you, but everyone else, I think, you know, you have a school within an hour drive of you. That's always been our experience. And it happens at, unlike the APs, it happens at about 5 or 6 different points during the year. So there's lots of sort of flexibility about when you can do it.
A couple of questions there about the high school diploma, which, yeah, maybe we didn't probably make that clear, about the grading. Depending on, you know, Dunmop's Learning that Helen and I are heading is we offer SAT preparation courses and AP preparation courses, which are US qualifications, and they fit really well with a high school diploma. So what we have found is, I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning, that we're actually consultants for an American high school homeschool program, and we work through getting a high school diploma. But there are various ways you can get a high school diploma. You can actually just make it up yourself, Helen, right? You can there's ways of getting one purely without any help, I guess. You can sign up to a registered school like we have. There's homeschool directive. There's a couple of them, I forget the names, Helen, maybe we could put them in the chat bar actually.
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
can help you to do that. But you're better at explaining it, Helen.
Yeah, so yeah, there are many different organisations, and yeah, we can certainly you know, help people sort of like, you know, like recommend sort of like different high school diploma programs, it's certainly, you know, it sounds a bit strange, you know, like who does the grading? Like, you know, will the parents do the grading? It's like, well, kind of how's that a thing? How's that going to be recognised? But that's why the high school diploma, the British universities say that it's only equivalent to 5 GCSEs, and that's why they say it's only equivalent to 5 GCSEs. So the high school diploma that we do with, you know, our organisation, you know, it's far in excess of that. You know, it's certainly, you know, equivalent to A levels. But because there isn't that standardization and there isn't that, so the idea that you could do a GCSE in maths and your parents mark it or somebody else marks it and it's still a GCSE just seems like, well, you know, it's just, that doesn't make sense for us. But that's how the American system works, that you have this high school diploma and parents could just mark the whole thing. But that's why the British universities say that it's only equivalent to 5 GCSEs, because it's almost like that's the kind of lowest level it could be equivalent to. So, and you know, some high school diplomas will be much more than that. But so how they differentiate will be the titles of the courses you're doing. So if you're doing advanced trigonometry, or if you're doing kind of basic maths, and that would be written on your form, on your high school diploma. But kind of in reality, I mean, I don't really know whether, so for example, the course that we do, if you do something like literary analysis, that's a very difficult subject. But in reality, I don't think a British university is going to know that literary analysis is much more difficult than English 1 or something like that. So, you know, it's just a very different system to get your head around, because, yeah, you can mark it all yourself and the parents can do all the grading. And that's, you know, that's what a lot of people do. Or you might outsource, you know, lots of things. The one we do, our kids do lots of online courses, or you can use something like Dreaming Spires, which I guess a lot of people have heard of, and you can use like some of their courses. So there's just different ways to do it. We've done several talks with there's a Facebook group that people have done some talks on the high school diploma. So we could certainly, if people want to put their emails in the chat, then we can certainly give people pointers about where to look for more information. Hold on, I'm not keeping up with all the questions here.
So there's a couple that I think we will be answering as we go on. Should we go a little bit further, if that's okay?
Sure. Yeah.
And then if anything's still missing, let's ask at the end. So that was the high school diploma, which there may be more questions about. The SAT, which is the one exam. Just to mention that it's, you know, if your child is going to go on to further education or even employment or whatever they're going to do, we've kind of discovered that having these 3 things is going to give your widest possible options. You can get into some places with just a high school diploma, maybe some with a high school diploma and an SAT, some with need all 3. It really does depend. So, you know, we're just covering all 3 things that would be your maximum, you know, keeping your maximum amount of options open kind of thing. So Helen and I did start doing a couple of APs, offering a couple of AP courses, but there just seems to be more and more demand for APs and for those people that are doing high school diplomas. So we, as 2 homeschool mums, unprofessional businesswomen that are learning a lot as we go along, we just decided that it would be great to have more options, especially for UK families, of more AP courses. So we put Domox Learning together. What is an AP again, Helen? Do you mind doing all this?
So,
she's so good at all the technical details.
So we wanted them for our kids, and so the last kind of couple of years, you know, we've been doing it kind of more. So, you know, I've been doing it with my own kids, and then we started doing it more formally and finding teachers and been offering courses and finding an exam centre. And it's just, you know, it's just kind of grown really that, you know, it wasn't enough the subjects we were getting, we were offering, so we needed more subjects. So we, you know, found more teachers. One of our teachers is here this evening actually, which I think will speak later. So we needed more subjects, and there was more demand from people. And I suppose for us it just makes sense, you know, like why would you why would you want to do A levels when there's a much simpler route, sorry, to university? It just, you know, so it was something that was worth telling people about. So it's a 2-hour exam. It only happens in May. Sorry, I'm sorry. It's about half multiple choice and half essay. The exam centre at the moment is in Harrogate. We're hoping to have 2 others next year as well, so hoping to have 3. And it can also be used as a high school credit. It's another very un-British thing. So you can have, so in England, if you do a GCSE or an A level, it's just your GCSE or an A level. If you do an AP in America, it's almost like a triple. It's almost like you do your AP and that's your AP. It can also be put on your high school diploma. So the same thing can be given a credit on your high school diploma. And then the same thing can actually go the other way and can also give you credit for colleges as well. So my son's going to America in the fall, and he's got 4 APs. So he will get some college credit, all those APs. So he'll get time off college and credits for college for that. And these 4 APs have also gone on his high school diploma, and he gets credits that way, which again, I mean, you know, it's very unusual. It's just not how we do it in the UK. But so you'd have the same thing, kind of goes both ways, and that's how the system is. 1 usually. At high school diplomas, usually the credits usually work by hours. So it's usually 120 hours per course. So it's usually one course is 120 hours, and it's, you know, that would be 1 credit.
So that's the case for America, how they can put this one exam use it in different places. But of course, in the UK, universities aren't going to use it for credit because universities work differently, right? But yeah, you can use it in your high school diploma, and you can use it to be the equivalent of an A level, even though it's not really.
Sure.
Yeah, so the thing in the UK is that it's not standard across the board everywhere. When you're looking at universities, or you think your child might be interested in studying such a subject, and you know, you're sussing out what universities might be good to go to, you just want to be looking at their entry requirements for international students, because in a sense you're an American student, and what should be on those entry requirements these are the things they're going to be looking at. Do you want to add to that, Helen?
No, I think that's fine. So I think it comes up next, so we can look at the universities. So this was just an example, just to show you kind of what it looks like. So you go to Southampton University, you look at international section of it, and then you look at America, because these are what we're talking about is American qualifications. And just to show you that they're all different. So we've done these sort of 3 columns. So you've got the high school diploma bit, you've got the SAT bit, and then you've got the AP bit. In reality, you don't necessarily need all 3 of those. You don't need a high school diploma and the SAT and the APs. Some universities you do, some universities you don't. So if you want to go to a kind of lower university, like not a very competitive university or not a very competitive course, you can probably get into the university with just the high school diploma and the SAT. That's probably going to be enough. If you want to go to Cambridge, then you're probably going to need 5 APs. If you want to almost kind of, I know, cover all bases, then it's probably better to do the 3 different things, to do the high school diploma or GCSEs, and the SAT and the APs. And then there's just, each university has just got different requirements. So if you want to go to Southampton to do French, you should look at what Southampton require for you to do. So what I've just got here is just a couple of examples of what they're saying. So Southampton, as you can see, they want 3. Sorry, can just go back. Southampton. Sorry, Southampton wants 3 APs, and they want scores of 555. 5's the highest you can get. SAT subject tests don't exist anymore, so that's not. They need to update their website really. Well, I suppose maybe people have done them some time ago. So that's what they want. And then the thing about college class on the bottom. But yeah, so this is Cambridge. So they want 5 APs. You can look at all these yourselves. You know, you can just Google it yourself. and you look at the second paragraph, they want the high school diploma and a high score on the SAT. What they want. Nottingham want, so I don't think they do say, so they're not saying they want high school diploma or SATs. They just want the 3 APs. And then Reading want, you can see what they want. So they just want the APs. And Nottingham Trent, which is so they were, it's like a lower university, I guess. So they've got like a lower requirement. Yeah, so just to give you an idea of what they're saying really.
So sorry, just to answer Amy's question, it's not, your 3 APs would be 3 different subjects. So the AP, do you know how many subjects are offered with the APs, Helen? It's an awful lot, right?
Yeah, about 30 or something. Yeah.
How many, sorry?
At 30, something
30.
like that.
So that, you can take an AP in geography, an AP in, they're all different subjects. Sorry, maybe you didn't make that clear enough in the beginning. So yeah, your 3 APs, they might all be science APs. If you want to go and do a science, you're likely to have 3 science APs or 2, and so yes, Damox Learning offers prep courses for both APs and SATs. So we don't, just to make it clear that we don't offer high school diplomas or anything. That's just not our department, but we love to tell people, encourage people to do them because we think they're smart for homeschoolers. But Damox Learning does APs and SATs. So these are the AP courses that we're offering as from the end of August. Hopefully more different subjects depending on the demands, but that's the ones that are going at the moment. And the SAT, because the AP exams are once a year, those courses will run from August until the AP exams, which are all around the same time in May. And the SAT courses are shorter, they're usually 13 weeks because the SAT can be taken at different times during the year. And actually retaken as well. Did we mention that? You can take it more than once if you think you haven't scored as high as you could. You can see if you can get a higher score.
Maybe do you want to just go back? Sorry, I was just going to say that we've got so I'm teaching the AP microeconomics course next year. So all APs are not equal. You would expect an A level to all be equally as difficult or equally as hard. Some APs are certainly more easier than others. So the AP Human Geography. So if Americans do APs, a lot of them don't. But if they do APs, then they some of them might do 7 to 10 APs because they would often be doing them to get into top American universities, or they would be doing them to kind of get a lot of college credit. So the Human Geography and also the microeconomics are regarded as easier kind of ones. Whether you need to have done something before them, so some of them, obviously if you want to do Latin, then you can't come into that, you've got to have done some Latin before. So we've got some great, we've actually got one of our biology teachers here this evening. Do you want to just say something about the biology, Amanda? You still here, Amanda?
No,
okay, she was here.
I didn't see her actually.
Okay, she lives in Spain actually. She's okay. So we did have Amanda.
Hi, sorry, can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Yes.
I see your internet's gone out.
I tuned in for the SAT, but yeah, so I am doing the biology because I was like Helen, I was going to go and do it with my own daughter, and thought that it's a good idea, a good cap to the high school diploma. She's the last of our 7 children, and she's our 7th, kind of route to further education that we've taken. The others have gone back to the UK to take GCSEs and A levels, actually some Scottish hires as well at various times. So the biology is, I did biology A level, and I studied biology, and I would say that the advanced placement is at least an A level. It's a different kind of an exam. They're trying to really test your thinking skills a lot more than learned material. Yeah, so it's a challenging year's course. It would be a good idea to have, you know, a high school general biology or general chemistry background to do it. Yeah, I don't know what else or what other questions you might have, what you'd like me to say.
No, that's fine. Thank you. And it's great. It's great that you're here. So and
Yeah.
people can ask you. You know, people want to ask you
We're
things.
almost
they can
done the
ask you then.
slides, and then maybe if somebody's got a question from Amanda,
Got the
that'd
bio.
be great.
Yeah.
Sorry. Trying to answer questions at the same time. So yeah, so the AP classes that we offer, there's just a list there of how it all works. Live, 1 hour long each week, live classes, which is there are various recorded classes on the market, but we decided it would be best to have that interaction of a live class. And that's what's, you can see there what's involved. And we thought it was important to have that connection with the parent as well at the end of each 10-week block.
Yeah, we really want live classes. I mean, you know, there's stuff around that, you know, on Khan Academy that's free, but we just think it just works so much better to have a teacher overseeing what's happening, checking that your child is doing what they're supposed to be doing, and reporting back to you about whether they're doing it or not doing it, and then just also just providing kind of interest and, you know, hopefully more fun, more engaging. You know, I'd certainly hope to do with the economics. I hope to make it kind of interesting. I'm sure Amanda will do the, you know, the bio, you know, so we would try and, you know, yeah, make it an interesting course. You know, I think most of the teachers we've got are just great and really passionate about their subjects, which is, you know, what we wanted. So we hope to, you know, make the classes engaging.
Just a couple of questions there. What grades do kids normally take of the SAT? What would you say, Helen? 10th, 11th?
Yeah, depends on how many times you want to redo it. Again, you know, it's another American thing. So, you know, the idea that you would keep doing you pass your GCSE maths. Say you got a 5, and then you would do it again, so you get a 6, and again so you get a 7. I mean, people don't really do that generally. But yeah, the Americans tend to do it multiple times. But yeah, I mean, most people in England, I think, are just going to the SAT once in probably grade 11 or 12, something like that.
But again, good for homeschoolers that maybe aren't used to sitting formal exams like that. That, you know, it's not so stressful when, you know, well, you know, if it's a struggle and I think I can improve, you can always sit it again.
Yeah, my son, who's my youngest one at home, so he's going to do the geography next year, and he'll only be in he'll be 15 at the start of the year. And the idea is just that if in the British system you obviously have done a lot of public exams at 16, and then you do more public exams. What, you know, most schools tend to do lots of mocks as well, and you don't have that experience. And certainly one of mine hadn't had the experience of doing public exams and did his first lot of public exams and didn't go well. I think it was just the not realizing what it was all about and not sort of actually getting going when the exam started and not pre-studying enough beforehand. So you retook, and, you know, it went much better the second time. So I'm going to sort of get him to do his first one kind of early, really, but so I'm picking one of the easier ones as also a practice of sitting a public exam, you know, so you might also, you know, want to do that.
So I mean, of course you can do them different ways. You could finish your whole high school diploma and concentrate on that, depending on what you were doing, and say take a year after you finished your high school diploma and just take 3 or 4 or whatever APs that year after you finished, is possible. Or, you know, a good way of doing it would be, like Helen says, take your first one as almost maybe your easiest one as a practice, use it as a high school credit, take it in 10th grade, maybe take 2 in 11th grade. If you know, it's great that you can see how a year goes and make a plan for the next year and think, no, I think you can manage 2. This sounds really interesting. And then, you know, or take 1 for 3 years and get 3 or 2 and 2, you know, you've got that flexibility. What is an easier AP? They say geography is
and
human geography.
Microeconomics, people saying also, I mean, people thought English language, and that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to offer that. And so I thought, and a lot of Americans tend to do that earlier, but then this year, I think it hasn't proved as easy as people thought. And also there are fewer people that get a 5. So it's kind of easy in a sense that, you know, everyone's done English. So I'm not sure that was as easy as we thought it might be. You know, I mean, the biology, I mean, if you've done a kind of GCSE in biology, or you've done a year of biology, you know, that would be a great one to do. There's a lot of memorization on the biology, but, you know, if you are willing to do that and put the time into that, then, you know, a biology would be a really good one to do. If you're really, you know, if you're a sciencey kid, you know, that'd be good.
I don't know about environmental science. We're not offering that one.
No.
You heard that, Helen?
People have said that one's easier, but we're not offering that. Maybe next year.
Okay, we're nearly done. Oh, this is just the pricing of the DAMOX pricing for the AP courses and the SAT course. Whatever country that you're in, we've got people from all over, which is great. What was I going to say? There is a discount for multiple courses. A few questions. We call DAMOX Learning because we have an affinity with well, no, we wouldn't call it affinity, but would like to be as brainy as St. Thomas Aquinas, who was, after his death, named, or they called him maybe when he was alive, the DAMOX. So we thought it was a quirky name to hopefully help our children get more educated and brainier. Helen and I are both Christians. It's all our teachers are Christian, but the courses aren't Christian. I mean, it's not a Christian organization or anything. But for those people who maybe are, that like their children to be, you know, not teaching anything that would go against their, but of course they're covering AP courses, they're just standard courses. So, and they have to cover that material. So they have to, somebody asked a question about whether you can just have a general knowledge of a certain subject and take an exam. I wouldn't think so, because, you know, you're really studying to pass an exam much more than, I think, learning as a homeschooler. You're learning to think, and you're learning to learn, and you're learning so many things more than just the information that you're given. But I guess an AP, you're learning the information that you're given in a lot of ways, so you can pass that exam. And maybe that's what GCSEs and A levels are more like too, I don't know, but yeah, so I hope that helps. And they are, DAMOX courses, most of them have all gone through the approval. It's just a matter of a formality, so hopefully they should all be approved by the College Board, is where they are accredited by the start of the school year. They should be, yes. And we are offering other courses, new ones coming all the time. We are offering an IGCSE maths course for the school year, for those that do choose to take that route. And we're actually in the beginning stages, but they should hopefully be out soon. We just put it on the website today. We're going to be offering some enrichment courses, things like we have an icon painting or writing, I should say, course that should be starting the beginning of the school year as well. We're going to have a chess club type course, and a debate course too, a debating club. So, and a few things like that. We're going to try and put in some fun things there too, which also could be used as high school credit for those who wish, not as an AP, but hopefully some fun things that people will benefit from as well. Anything to add to that, Helen?
No, just, I mean, I think that's kind of, I think we just got one more slide with pretty pictures on it.
Yeah, that's it. We're done.
Yeah, so I just think there was quite a lot of questions there, and so I'm just not sure we've answered everything that people have asked. So please, yeah, ask a question again, or go on mic, and please, because we're just very happy to have a conversation. I think some of those, we've just put very brief answers in. So either go on mic and ask your questions, or
I'm going to
ask them
go
again.
through the questions now, but yeah, if anybody wants to ask any, if we haven't made it clear.
Which I'm sure we haven't.
No, it's a bit complicated.
And I think we're not professionals. We're not professionals, business people here. We're professional. We sort of think we're professional mums and professional homeschoolers. We've been doing that long enough. So do you think we answered okay the about grading transcripts for high school? Oh, I don't know. I mean, do people feel that we've based on? Does anybody still want to? Getting some more messages.
Are there guides on how to grade?
Well, we do in our program. We've got I mean, loads. We have a lot of information about how to grade. But if you go with I don't know, there's like one called Brightways, there's one called Home Life Academy. I don't really know what they would. I don't know how much information they give you about grading. I suspect they would give you some guidance. I suspect they would want to, because I think they have I think most of them have some sort of like mentor. You have some sort of like mentor, when you do it. So yeah, you would get some, but I don't know quite how much you get. But yeah, I think so. Someone said whether APs are harder than SAT. I mean, yeah, they're just completely different. I mean, they're just completely different. So the SAT is just, it's just like a completely different thing. The SAT is not, the APs are harder because they're like A-level equivalents. So yeah, they're harder. And like the maths on the SAT and the maths, if you did like a calculus AP, then the calculus AP is loads harder. So yeah, the APs are harder than the SAT, but they're just kind of different. They're just like a different exam. Someone asked about Harrogate, about whether they would let you sit other exams. I mean, there's a variety of AP exams, and you'd have to ask Harrogate whether they would let you sit. If you want to, some of the exams I think are quite practical. I don't know. We just haven't investigated them, so I think it's possible that Harrogate wouldn't let you sit some exams. Someone did a French exam there this year that did have a listening part to it, but I know the music has got an oral and an aural part. I don't know whether they would have the facilities to do that. I mean, they're just been so kind and so nice, so maybe they would. Okay.
Any tips on how might a dyslexic child do this route? I think I have one of those, at least one, and I'm not sure about AP. Well, he's not going to do APs because he's has various learning difficulties that he's not going to go on to university or anything, so he doesn't really need the APs. But we very I'm almost afraid to say it, successfully, we're almost done, we haven't quite finished, but I am so glad that we're doing a high school diploma, because he will get the high school diploma, and I think if he was in school doing GCSEs, he probably would do very poorly. But because the flexibility, I think this is a big thing for homeschoolers, and a lot of people homeschool because their children have learning difficulties, or that is a big part of how it came about maybe, or they just don't learn well in a classroom or whatever. So I think there is it's quite a big thing, right, for homeschoolers. And I think a high school diploma is so great for that, because you've got so much flexibility. We just did the minimum hours, the minimum requirements. We did a lot of things orally, we did most things orally. The books that had to be read, I read aloud to him, or he listened on Audible. You've got so much flexibility like that, that he'll still get a high school diploma because he doesn't have to, he would not do well sitting exams. So I think, I mean, you know, dyslexia can cover a huge range, of course, of, you know, that could be a minor problem, or it could be a huge thing. Of course, that all, you know, learning difficulties cross a wide span. But just to give you the example of that, I think if a high school diploma is a really good way to go with children with learning difficulties because of that flexibility.
Someone just said what the main advantages. I think that if you do GCSEs and you do, you know, 6 or 7 GCSEs, it's kind of full on. You know, you're not going to do anything else. It's like, you know, you're very focused on exams for those 2 years. You've got to pass an exam at the end of it. And then if you do A levels, I've seen a lot of people go on to college, which you may or not wish to do. But then if you do A levels, that's 2 kind of full years of courses. And I suppose, you know, it's just less time. The high school diploma AP route, there's less time focused on the exams. You know, you can do, as we said, in, you know, many ways, you can do a lot. There's a lot more variety of courses that you can do in your high school diploma. And then the APs are just, there's less content because it's a 1-year course as opposed to a 2-year course. So you can, there's much more freedom in what you decide to do and what what your child decides to do and how you decide to educate. It's just, there's far less focus on the exams, which, you know, is what we wanted. I think someone also asked the program that we used, whether it's good to be part of a program and why be part of a program. I mean, the program we're with, we sort of mentor families. So we have families that we kind of meet 3 times a year, and we sort of help them. We suggest things, and, you know, say that isn't working, then we give them other ideas. You know, so it's you kind of, different high school diplomas are organised in different ways. Though, so the one that we do, I mean, that's been invaluable for us. I think Jenny and I have had, we both have our own sort of consultants that we meet with. I'm meeting with someone tomorrow. So that for us has been really, you know, it's been wonderful. You know, it's been really invaluable.
I guess there's a lot of
support.
providers like schools. Ours is just a private school in America, a sort of distance learning school, I guess. And I mean, you can have the sort of more, the ones that are like an umbrella, like these, I forget the names of them, the home life academy, and they seem to be much more a loose thing. Ours is a quite, it's a classical curriculum. I mean, there's so much variety out there. You can go from a really academic, you know, full-on program that offers so much and maybe costs more money, or you can do your homemade, and there's lots of things in between, I guess.
Anyone else? Anything else that we've forgotten, or anyone else wants to ask?
We'll be coming up to the hour. Another question or two, or any comments? Does it help to know, maybe some of you have been doing a high school diploma but didn't know enough about the APs or anything, or is there anything that you found helpful? Okay, so so there's a girl in who's the same program as we do, and she's in medicine now. So she's done AP. She actually needed a lot to go into medicine, as you would expect. So she needed 5 APs to go into medicine. My son's at Sheffield doing maths this last year, and he's done 3 APs. So, you know, universities are accepting them. You know, even if you want to go into STEM careers, and obviously, you know, depends what, you know, in the same way as A levels, you know, you'd have to do APs in the correct subjects. But yeah, so you can, it works, you know, for going into STEM fields. It's good to just have a browse at different universities, you know, have a little look you know, maybe somewhere that you studied, perhaps see what they require now and what's the equivalent of what you got or your husband got, or whatever people you know. I think that's interesting, is to see, you know. And just, you know, if you are thinking about signing up for APs and you are signing up for APs through Dumox, it would really help us if people could do it sort of sooner rather than later, because that would just really help us in terms of our planning and whether, you know, we have sort of viable courses or not. So we're really hoping to get
people signed up and knowing that the courses are able to go ahead. So if you are going to do it, then it would help us enormously. We'd be very grateful if you could do it sooner rather than, so I know that there's a temptation to just leave it and to kind of like leave it, you know, leave it. There's no urgency with it because nothing's actually happening till August, but it would help us in our planning to know and to do it sort of sooner rather than later.
And if anybody wants to put if you want to keep up here anymore, I mean, you can always look for us on the website. We try and keep it updated with any new courses, any new things that are going on. But if you want to just, we do have a mailing list. We're not going to be pestering people all the time. It will probably be every now and then there'll be a newsletter with the latest things on. So please put your email in the chat bar then, and I'll make a note of them if you want to hear any updates or just be even reminded, you know, a little while later if you don't have kids ready to do anything this year, but you want to bear it in mind for maybe next year, you know, please feel free to have your email there. We won't use it wrongly or pester you. But yeah, and another one is, if I don't know, in fact, I'd love to know, could you put in the chat how you heard about this Zoom? Because we're trying to, like, you know, let the right people know that need to know about it, but we've put in some Facebook groups, we've passed it on through, you know, it's getting the word out there, right? I'd love to know how you've heard, if it's through a friend, from a Facebook group, from some other organization. It's good to know what's working about getting the word out there. And also, please, it'd be great if you could pop in there, maybe you're part of a homeschool group or something that would like to hear more, or, you know, you could pass on the recording of this or something. You know, we're just looking to get the word out there and just really encourage homeschoolers, because I know I would have so appreciated it when I was at that stage early on with my first high schooler going into the world and thinking, am I doing the right thing? And kind of, you know, it's great to have people that have gone before you, right? That you can say, okay, they did that and they did, you know, we're happy to talk anytime over, you know, if you want advice, I've got a child, I think you might like to do this, what do you think we should do? You know, do reach out through the website or anything. Yeah,
and we're happy to do these kind of Zooms to kind of, you know, if you're members of other groups and you think other people would be interested in hearing about it, then we've, you know, done lots of these kind of Zoom things to other groups. And, you know, we did something in person last week. It's very strange doing something in person these days, but we did do something in person, which was fun. You know, it was down on the South Coast, so we did something in person to a group down there. So we're certainly, you know, we're gonna, you know, willing to do that and to speak to groups. So thank you. But thank you for coming. Thank you so much for coming. Really, you know, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I was thinking maybe we should do discounts for people who offer to host a Zoom for like so many people, and we could give you a discount off your AP course or something. Maybe that would be the way to get the word out there a little bit more.
Sure.
Yeah, do get in touch if you've other people that you think would like to hear more. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you so much.
Thank you. If anyone wants to, you know,